Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So it's really interesting when Rabbi Steve is here, he always starts, not always, but for a long time, starts with a deep breath. And I'd like to do that. And just give me a second. What I finally realized tonight setting up is that he doesn't do that for y'all. Right? He does that for himself so that he could get started. So if you don't mind, Friday night, end of the week, I have, after this week, all kinds of new thoughts and admiration for what that man does every week to get ready to be here on a Friday night. So first, I'd like to thank Sandy Worthman for singing with us tonight, to thank Michael Tannenhouse and Michael Levin for doing production. I'd like to thank Rosie the Camel, who traveled all the way with us from Jerusalem. She's sitting over here on Sandy's lectern. So what you don't know about Rosie is that she has perfect pitch. So if Sandy has an issue, there's just gonna be a little correction. And with that, why don't we start with the opening song.
Romemu Adonai Elokeinu v'hishtakavu lahar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Elokeinu v'hishtakavu lahar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Elokeinu Romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Elokeinu Romemu.
We thank you, God, for this Sabbath day, with thanks for all you do along our way, feeling your love each morning, your faithfulness each night, singing our songs of thanks and praise to you with the voice and instrument combined. Your deeds bring us joy. Your grand designs fill all our needs. In this amazing world you made, speaking it into being. Your work so glorious and beautiful. How awesome is your design. The righteous blooms just like the palm, thrive like cedars of Lebanon. In the house of God they have been planted, producing fruit in old age, granted, teaching that God's will is right, our rock, in whom we all delight.
Laka dodi, ligra kala, b'nei shabbat nekamela. Laka dodi, ligra kala, b'nei shabbat nekamela. Jemor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Ishmi'anu elchavan yuchad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, l'shemu tiferet filiti la 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 hadodi, ligra kala, b'nei shabbat nekamela. Laka dodi, ligra kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela.
We rise.
Ohi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, am b'simcha uv'zola, to'et moneh am segula, bo'ri kala, Laka dodi, ligra kala, b'nei shabbat nekabela. Laka dodi, ligra kala, b'nei shabbat nekabela.
In the midst of it all, despite it all, because of it all, because there is all, thank you, Holy One. Please rise physically or spiritually as you are able. Baruch hu et Adonai hamvorach. Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Praises God, the source of blessing, now and forever.
You may be seated. As the sun sinks and the colors of the day turn, we offer a blessing for the twilight. For twilight is neither day nor night, but in between.
We are all twilight people. We can never be fully labeled or defined.
We are many identities and loves, many genders and none. We are in between roles at the intersection of histories or between place and place.
We are crisscross paths of memory and destination. Streaks of flight swirl together. We are neither day nor night. We are both, neither and all.
May the sacred in-between of this evening suspend our certainties, soften our judgments, and widen our vision.
May this in-between light illuminate our way to the God who transcends all categories and definitions.
May the in-between people who have come to pray be lifted up into this twilight.
We cannot always define. We can always say a blessing. Blessed are you, God of all, who brings on the twilight.
We both missed our cue. It's great. Oh God, when you created humanity at the end of the sixth day of creation, in your image, you made it clear that you loved us from the start. You made us partners in caring for our world. You gave us laws and rules by which to live our lives.
But
most of all,
Oh God, you made sure that we know that these laws are given with love for us, that they are not meant as a way to hold us down.
Help us always to remember your wisdom, your love,
in
all that we do to rule ourselves, to live with each other in peace. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Praised are you, O God, who loves the people of Israel so much that you gave us rules to live by.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Blessed. No, is it Hero Israel? Hero Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed be the name of the one whose glorious rule is forever and ever. And if it ever ends, then that is
Kind of hard to follow that enthusiasm. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivdecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha ba'derech u'kshaktecha u'kumecha Ukshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot bein einecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha. Lama'an tizkaru asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'yitem kedoshim lelohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher chotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, v'hiot lachem lelohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
It's when we were all in Israel together, for those of you who are unaware, who are joining from streaming land or visiting us, right, this service is being led by part of the cadre that went to Israel in 2018. And Miles was sort of our spirit animal. He was incredible. At the time, you were 9? Yeah. So we had a 9-year-old touring Israel with a tour guide and I think something like 13 adults. I've never seen a child that age with so much patience and so much attention and just the willingness to be where he was and not need to be elsewhere. It was pretty incredible. Also, this kid could crash on a bus like you would not believe. In life, the first step towards finding a solution to a challenge is often taken blindly, unsure of where exactly the journey will lead or who will join us on the way. It takes courage to take that first step, even towards asking others to help us.
sea, took the courage
of Nachshon to take the
that
first step, the leadership of Moses to make the path to freedom obvious with God's help, the encouragement of Miriam to see us through to the other side. Different personalities, different positions working together, all needed to guide us towards the freedom we did not yet know. Really imagine.
Mi chamocha b'helim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot, osei feleh, nora tehilot, osei feleh. Mahuteha, rahuvanecha, okehayam, Livnei Moshe, Zeli anu ve'amru, Adonai imloch, Adonai imloch, le'olam va'ed.
Maybe, O God, what we need to consider building now is not a sukkah of peace, but rather a bridge of peace, to connect us from where we find ourselves to where we wish to be, from where we are to where we are going, to connect us to each other in understanding, love, and support. Maybe that sukkah, the shelter of your peace, O God, is not a physical construction, but what we find in making ourselves into that bridge, reaching out to each other and to you in faith and trust. Baruch atah Adonai hapores shuka shalom, oleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Praised are you, Adonai, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all the people of Israel, and over Jerusalem.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורות בראשית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות בראשית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות בראשית עולם. כששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות בראשית עולם. וביום השביעי, וביום השביעי, שבת ויהי נפש, שבת ויהי נפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות בראשית עולם.
All please rise.
Open my eyes to truth, open my hands to give freely, open my lips to good words, to pure words, open my heart to love. Open my eyes to truth, open my hands to give freely, open my lips to good words, to pure words, open my heart to love. Adonai. Ananananana satatita, Ananananana hufiakit, hufiakit tahilateha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elokeinu, Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanara, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, Zer Kol Hima'ot, Migula Livnei V'Nechem, Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach Magain, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu Avraham, Ezrat Sarah.
This is the part of the evening where my father gets surprised because I didn't tell him we were skipping page 6 and he doesn't know that he's up. So you'll give him a moment, please, to walk forward.
Shabbat Shalom. On this Sabbath evening, we offer our thanks to you, O God, the one whose strength and might help us to help ourselves and others, the one whose unique and holy status inspires us to act uniquely to elevate ourselves and others. For this gift of the Sabbath day, symbol of our eternal covenant with you, opportunity for rest and joy, hope and peace, entryway in our journey to holiness as individuals and as a community, for hearing our prayers tonight and at all times, and answering them even when the answers are neither what we were expecting nor what we were hoping to hear. For all the gifts for which you bless us, whether in mercy in our times of need or as a reward to our faithful adherence to the covenant, or simply because you chose to bless us.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata Melech Adon Lecho HaShalom. Ki ata Melech Adon Lecho HaShalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov b'necha levarech et Amcha Yisrael. B'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Silent.
Maybe we should develop a Crayola bomb as our next secret weapon, a happiness weapon, a beauty bomb. And every time a crisis developed, we would launch one. It would explode high in the air, explode softly, and send thousands, millions of little parachutes into the air, floating down to earth, boxes of Crayolas. We wouldn't go cheap either. No boxes of 8, but boxes of 64 with the sharpener built right in, with silver and gold and copper, magenta and peach. Oh, and lime. Don't get old, your eyes go away. Amber and umber and all the rest. And people would smile and get a little funny look on their faces and cover the world with imagination. Say shalom b'mumav, uyaseh shalom aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, v'ima'u, amen. Sorry, they really are going. Yeah. Oh, that's so much better. Alna Rafan Allah, O God, please hear my prayer and send your blessing of healing of body and soul, of spirit and mind, to those I know and love, to those I have never met, to the too many who need the blessing of your healing on this night. Elna Rafan Allah, O God, please hear our prayers.
Yishebera avotenu mekor hambracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Yishebera imotenu mekor hambracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
So I probably shouldn't lead with smoke 'em if you got 'em, right? This week's Torah portion is full of the types of plot points you would expect more from a Game of Thrones episode than you might a Torah portion. There's revenge, genocide, and urban devastation. There's division of the spoils of war and the fair distribution of pure women. And there are cows, lots and lots of cows. We're talking near Civil War type stuff being fought over the keeping of cows. Tonight, though, I want to talk about where the portion starts, not with cows, but with vows. At the very beginning of the somewhat disjointed parsha this week, Moses gives excruciatingly detailed directions on how to make and keep vows, and the specific conditions under which we are and are not expected to be held responsible for them. The conditions are so fierce, and the holiness of a vow considered so important, in fact, that before the addition of Kol Nidre to the High Holiday liturgy, the rabbis highly discouraged Jews from making vows, as death was the recommended sentence should a vow be broken. It's serious. But first things first, what's a vow? Judaism, for its part, sees vows as solemn promises made by people to prohibit or perform specific behaviors. So we can take a vow to prohibit ourselves from wine or gluttony, or conversely, make a vow to cherish and protect a spouse, as we do in a wedding. In either case, the vow isn't to a person, that's an oath in Judaism, but to a behavior, drinking, eating, cherishing, protecting. With death on the line, no wonder Moses felt the need to be so descriptive in the creation and keeping of those vows. And it makes sense. A vow, a solemn promise, should be made with great thought, even if you're not worried about being stoned to death by a gang of raging Israelites. So 5,000 years later, and without so much fear of death, what do our modern vows look like, and how do we make and keep them? In the beginning of 2003, I was caught in the drama of my own collapsing marriage. It had become obvious that my then wife did not want to be married anymore, as evidenced by her subtle hints about the subject, like when she said to me on multiple occasions, "Scott, I don't want to be married anymore." Her parents' marriage had been less than ideal the entire time I knew her, and she had said many times how much better off she thought she and her brother would have been if her parents had simply divorced. But they, like we, had made vows. Since my marriage was mixed, our wedding included a lot of vows. There were the Christian, secular, popular vows for better or worse, and sickness and health, to death do us part stuff. There were also the Jewish, "Behold, by this ring you are consecrated to me as my wife, according to the laws of Moses in Israel." Perhaps incorrectly, I saw them all essentially the same way. We were two made one, and I was going to keep it that way. For the better part of a year stuck in that failing marriage, I did everything I could to get it back on track. In addition to our regular couples therapy, I started seeing my own counselor, not to fix the marriage, but to better understand how my behavior was contributing to its demise. I read book after book about honest communication, the secrets of successful marriage, and I began taking serious stock of my core values. And then something odd began to happen. I came to see the value of myself, the value I could bring to the world, and the value of my life with or without my wife. In that last year, I helped guide my wife's family through two devastating tragedies, not because I believed my behavior would raise her estimation of me in our marriage, though I did hope it would, but simply because of my rediscovered values and because of my vow. Ultimately, though, she had told me the truth many times previously. She didn't want to be married anymore. As the reality of the situation grew clearer to me, I realized that as much as I wanted to, I could not be in a successful marriage with a partner who did not wish to be as well. We would be two again. In order to continue to grow and evolve, I would have to break my vows. Now, the breaking of a vow, a sacred pact with God to perform or prohibit an act, must be taken seriously. And though it can be broken, it must be done intentionally and with care. And this goes for our other commitments as well. The tribes we support implicitly or explicitly with our behaviors, the time and attention we spend working on the things most important to us, or more importantly, the time and attention we spend on the distractions from the things and people we claim to be most important to us. We must continually assess our vows. Are we keeping and upholding them? Have we already broken them without even realizing it? And what of our other commitments, though possibly not sacred, but fundamental to who we are? Have we regularly committed to specific behaviors concerning our families, but broken those commitments to attend to our jobs? Have we supported a group or cause so long that we stopped thinking about if we even believe in it anymore? Have we prohibited ourselves from some completely rational or sensible behavior because we're afraid of how somebody might see us? Whatever the reason, we must examine our vows and our behaviors. We must make choices about which to pursue and which to break. And here's the beauty of a vow broken intentionally with purpose. It frees us to recommit to behaviors and ends worth pursuing, worthy of our own updated operating models, worthy of our better selves, and hopefully worthy of God. Yehi Ratzon. I'd like to now welcome, that's the word I'm looking for, Misty Heckinger, your Budget and Finance Chair, to the Bema for announcements.
And the person who succeeded because he did give up on that first marriage. As a matter of fact, for those of you who don't know that I'm his now wife. Hi, Shabbat Shalom to everybody. So there are a lot of announcements that were put out in email for those of you who are on the email list. But as a reminder, there's a No Fear rally in solidarity with the Jewish people that's being held on Sunday, July 11th at 1 p.m. Details about that are in the information. You can register online. The registration is not required, and there's a list of speakers as part of those links. This coming Tuesday on July 13th at 7 p.m. is Mahjong. It's $5 a night for non-Women of Temple Solel members. It's free for those who are members of Women of Temple Solel. Recommend that you come. Remember that masks are required. Also, as I am the Budget and Finance Chair, a reminder that the Brit and application for being a member for this year is now available and up on the website. If you are an approved member, please complete your Brit for the coming year. We are already into July, so that means that we now have 11 months left in our year, which means that now your payments will be prorated over an 11th month period instead of a 12. Please make sure you fill it out, and if you've got any questions, please feel free to email finance@templesolelmaryland.org. Also, because we are starting a new year, in addition to joining the congregation, the Men of Solel and the Women of Temple Solel all have membership links on there to be able to join. Those are also saved on there, and there's also multiple save the dates for different activities coming up. Thank you so much to everybody from the 2018 Israel trip for helping to support running this service. We are very grateful, especially since Rosie was able to join us. It's very important that she's here. And Shabbat Shalom. Oh, that's right. Yeah. I've got to do the next part.
Everyone rise, please.
Got to switch to the service. All right. Please rise physically or spiritually as you are able. Anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamachim hakadosh baruch hu. Tonight, as we prepare to say Kaddish, we connect to each other in comfort and sympathy as we acknowledge those who have died in recent days. We connect to our history as a community by remembering the yahrzeits, the anniversaries of the deaths of those who died at this time in years gone by. And we connect with our fellow human beings across our country, all around the globe, in acknowledging those who have been felled by this virus. And so we continue to add the phrase, V'al kol yoshvei tevel, and all the inhabitants of the earth, right before we say the final amen. We don't have names. We don't have a list to give out tonight. I apologize. I was not prepared for that. Please join me. Yitkadal, Yitkadash, Shemei Rabbah, V'alma divarach yurte, v'amlich malchute, v'chayechon, v'yomechon, v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala uvizman kariv v'yimru. Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah, mevarach le'olam, almei almaya, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar, v'yithaleh, v'yithalal, shmei d'kudusha b'richu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'imiram b'alma v'yimru. Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba min Shemaya, v'ha'im aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'merama, huya oseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'el kol yoshvel tevel, v'yimru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, comfort to all those who are bereaved, and let us all say, Amen.
Amen.
Please be seated.
At this point, I think I'm going to invite Sandy to begin our closing hymn while I go down and prepare candles, and Mr. Michael gets ready for his next part.
Oseh shalom bimroma, uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'hakol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen.
You'll take that? Perfect.
Hello.
We do another verse?
You may if you like.
It's all right. We can move
You
on.
ready? All right.
Miles, here it is, man. Here's the test.
I'm just keeping it
Don't
short.
let it go out.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Yeah, this is very much pressure.
Huh? Yes, yes. It's actually more fun than watching the rabbi try to light the worker.
Matches?
Yeah.
You know it's fun when you have to beg the things to light. Thank you.
We can say together, Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Praise are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of all time and all space, who makes us holy through divine commandments and instructs us to light Shabbat candles. I got 20.
87.
All right, we're doing just the short one. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, Borei pri hagafen.
Hagafen.
Yep, indeed. I'll take that. And normally at this point, Rabbi does a benediction in which he says multiple things, but inherently they end with the same thing, which is Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Michael, that's you. We're done. Oh, okay.